the multi-channel auto platform, considering auto is where all the action is, and talk about what really are the trends that one is seeing when it comes to new vehicles, when it comes to used vehicles, and what is it that the consumers are preferring right now. We have with us Banwari Lal Sharma, Chief Executive Officer, Consumer Business at Car Trade Tech, joining in on the show right now. Mr. Sharma, great to have you on the show. The first quarter data for wholesale passenger vehicles has been quite robust. What's been your sales growth rate in the first quarter, and which car segment has been driving the demand?
Good morning. So you said it correctly. The first quarter data for dispatches, the new car dispatches have been fantastic. In fact, they will probably be one of the best in last few years. As we see, India has been not really growing as an auto industry over the last few years. We've been kind of stagnated. COVID gave us a bit of bump in the right, but this seems like the right thing happening. And predominantly, I think there are two things which would be affecting this. One, the supply chain getting normalized again. It's not still there, but largely will be there in a couple of quarters. So that's one. And second is, of course, we are going to enter now the pre-festive period. So typically autos see the best months around Diwali, and around July, the entire thing, let's say, starts picking up, the inquiries build up. As far as we are concerned as Carvale, both new cars and bikes as on Bikewale and used cars on Carvale Car Trade, I can fairly say there are two indicators for us. On the supply side, let's say people trying to list their cars on Carvale Car Trade for sale, the used cars. It has already seen about 14-15% jump, let's say, last 4 or 5 weeks. On the new car side, as far as inquiries are concerned, typically festive periods for us again start somewhere around June. And we've seen that growth. The growth for us has been predominantly up since pandemic hit. So the first few months, about 4 or 5 months, the traffic was down. Post that, there was a surge, and the surge kind of continued. It has been tapering down, going up depending on the seasonality, but this is again already up. And we're already seeing about 8-9% traffic up on the site as far as inquiries are concerned, traffic is concerned, the research patterns are concerned. So we're preparing for the, I suppose, fantastic festive season.
Anecdotally, has inflation and the cost of living going up in just about everything we consume, has that impacted car sales at all?
It has, in a certain way. In fact, bike sale has been impacted. I suppose it is because of the entire economy, the way it is structured today. Certain people are making a lot of money, and certain people probably are not making enough money, and that's the divergence we've seen. Bikes are not doing as well. Whatever I spoke about is largely cars. We do see traffic on Bikewale going up. In fact, better than Carvale on new bike section, but the demand, the real bike sale, we'll only know in about 3 months if this changes. So clearly, the entire inflation, the crude going up, the input costs of, let's say, items that are required to manufacture these cars going up, clearly the prices of the products have gone up significantly, anywhere between from 8% to 15-20%, depending on the product that you buy today. Despite that, the demand is not softening. So if you look at, let's say, expensive cars, anything which is more than 20 lakh, 15 lakh, the demand is fairly robust. And predominantly the favorite of the country today, that entry-level SUV segment or mid-level SUV, compact SUV segment, that continues to be very, very strong. New launches happening, coming up. We saw Scorpio last week. We saw Venue launch. We saw C3 from Citroën. So these are going to further fuel that particular, industry. In fact, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, you can clearly see India used to be a predominantly small car market. The top
Right.
3, top 5 cars would
Sure.
be small cars. Today, that changes to entry-level SUV or mid-level SUVs.
So given that we're seeing the auto industry now come out of the wood, there's so many new launches, demand seems to be returning, even in some of the suppressed segments. What about ad revenue? What's the outlook?
So ad revenue, typically, if you look at the industry from a, let's say, the business point of view, I think dealers specifically have been really on a roll. Of course, the first few months of pandemic was terrible, but After that, it has been one of the best months for the industry ever. I've been here for about 2 decades and I haven't seen something like this. No discounts on products, prices going up, people still lining up. Whatever you have, people are taking up. Dealers are really, let's say, really happy. OEMs are not too unhappy either. It's just that, of course, the if their input costs were not so high, maybe they would have benefited more. I think the festive season, as typically for us and for everybody, the big monies come from launches, which is when a new product comes in, there is an excitement for that. OEMs want to talk about that, and that is only going to start now. So I think things should be good, I would say.
You're saying we can assume then that there will be strong margin expansion as well, coupled with that?
I won't be able to talk about that right now. Unfortunately, we are in that cooling period. We'll announce our results in a few weeks. So I won't be able to talk about that. But festive typically, I mean, for example, just to tell you a perspective, Q1 in the industry is the weakest. April, May, June, July, August, September, the build-up starts. October, November, December, we do really well. And Jan, Feb, March, because of the corporates buying cars because of the year changing, that's typically the best. So this is how this build-up happens, and this is how we foresee that to happen for us as well.
Right. So you spoke about all the input cost going up, how prices are going up, and having an impact on the overall space. But there are two different costs that also impacts the car sales pretty aggressively. One is crude oil prices on a retail basis are up significantly on a year-to-year basis, and interest rates have gone up, which of course is this market tends to be interest rate sensitive, and there have been price hikes by various other players as well. Uh,
Yes.
what sort of these external factors are having an impact on the used car space?
So not yet, nothing much. In fact, this is very early. The interest rates have only started going up now. We'll know probably in a couple of quarters how this pans out. As far as the crude is concerned, I think the demand has been so strong, and potentially it could be because of a couple of reasons. One, of course, the entire pent-up demand for last 2 years, let's say pandemic, etc. Second, this entire shared mobility, which has been on the roll, and people would not really take, what do you say, they would replace their own vehicles with, let's say, an Uber or Ola or whatever, let's say, was out there. I think there's a significant change in that. People struggle today to get a taxi on time at a reasonable price, and that is potentially, plus, of course, pandemic would have had some impact on people in long-term thought process that I'm sitting with someone in the car, how safe am I? So those two things put together, I suppose, nothing we see right now as far as demand is concerned. Demand is pretty robust. Of course, the supply side on used cars has started going up because people are now taking up deliveries of new cars. They are letting go of their used cars, which is helping. It's just that when the supply becomes normal, how much of this demand sustains or let's say goes up, time will tell. I'm not sure about that right now. Maybe we'll know in about 2 quarters.
Thanks much for sharing with us the outlook as well as what we're seeing within the segment as a whole. Now to take a